Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dawn, and we are going to give it just another minute or so. We have about 60 folks registered with under that in attendance. And so I'm going to give folks just a minute or so to join us, and then I'll do a more formal introduction and a very short presentation, and then we are be ready to answer your questions. Thanks for joining us today. Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Bond. I am the Director of Operational Services, and my team and I have the pleasure and honor of moving students in at UMass Amherst. Today, we are going to do I'm going to do a very short presentation and hit some key points that may prompt questions. You may already have your questions ready, but bear with me. I'm going to present for maybe 10 minutes max. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A versus the chat. It's easier for the team that's behind the scenes and off camera right now to answer questions in the Q&A versus the chat. The chat can get a little wild when it gets going. So again, Dawn Bond, thank you for being here with us this afternoon. We're excited about welcoming you back to campus in late August, early September, and let's get going. Some important dates to note: Monday, August 3rd, your student will find out in the housing portal where they will be living for fall and spring semester this coming academic year. They will learn their building, room, and roommate information in the housing portal on Monday, August 3rd. On August 10th through the 13th, students will complete what we call a move-in reservation. We use the move-in reservation to schedule traffic incoming and to have less traffic jams to no traffic jams, because we have folks come in on the half hour during the centralized move-in days and then on the hour outside of those days. And so on Monday, August 10th, not every building will start at 9 a.m. There is a schedule already determined for what groups of buildings will make their move-in reservation beginning at 9, and then another group of buildings will start at 10 and 11 and so on. We do that because having 13,000 folks go on to any type of platform has caused it to crash. And so please look for that schedule on our move-in website. I am going to skip past a couple of concepts that are part of this presentation. This is a whole presentation is available to you on our website, but quickly, Friday, August 28th, we move our summer students. Monday, August 31st is our early arrival day. And then I think what most of you are here for today is to talk about when we move in our new students. We move our new students in on Wednesday, September 2nd and Thursday, September 3rd. So move-in days 1 and 2. There are three types of move-in. We have student staff that come back early and help families move in. Most of our buildings are moved in by our Minute Mover teams. We also work with a professional moving company to move in some of our more challenging residence halls. Our towers in Southwest residential area, all of Sylvan and all of Honors College are moved in by professional movers. And then last, we do have what is called unassisted move-in. Unassisted move-in is for our early arrivals, for folks who are coming after hours or anytime over Labor Day weekend. I like a visual, So here's a picture of each of those types of move-ins. The first picture is a picture of our Minute Mover, one of our Minute Mover teams helping unload cars and put belongings into bins. And when Minute Movers move you in, you are also part of the process. The only person that doesn't move belongings into the residence hall after the car has been loaded is the driver of the car. Maybe in this case, it's Dad right here. Dad will move the car to the parking location that we've identified for each residence hall. Those maps are available on our website. In fact, there are lots of maps on our website that we are hoping that anybody coming to campus and driving will do a little bit of research ahead of time so that you're familiar with routes and traffic patterns. We do change some of the directions on streets. We close some streets, and so it's important to do a little pre-navigation by looking at the maps for your student's residence hall and their check-in location prior to coming. This is a picture in the center of our professional moving company. This works a little bit different. They take custody of all of the belongings in that car. In fact, the family doesn't get out of the car at all. The university and student services staff will take everything out of the car, put them in bins, label them with the last name and room number of the student in the car, and then the car goes and parks. And in 98% of the time, when the family gets back to the room, the belongings are in the room waiting for you to get unpacked. And then the last picture here is a picture of a family that are doing an unassisted move-in where they've signed out a bin, they've themselves alone unloaded the car, and they're moving the belongings in. There will be a boarding pass after the move-in reservation is made that your student will print and bring to campus. This is an example of last year's boarding pass. It's going to look a little bit different. We're transitioning to a new housing portal this year, but just know that it will have a lot of important information on it, some QR codes, and we will use that as part of the check-in out in the 2 check-in locations. So printing the boarding pass is important. I've already talked a little bit about reviewing routes, bringing the boarding pass. Your student will need a photo ID. We're going to talk about the 1 car rule next. So there's some lists of things to bring. We have a pretty extensive list on our website just to remind you of all the things your student might need while they're here. There are also some things that you shouldn't bring, and those are listed on the website as well. Those are usually related to fire safety hazards. I do want to highlight quickly a couple of programs that you might be interested in. One is the luggage program. Out-of-state and international families are able to ship items directly to us ahead of time. We will hold them at the distribution center, and then my team will work their best to get them into the room waiting for your student when they arrive. Microfridge is the company that we have a relationship with that does a rental program where it's a microwave, refrigerator, and freezer, all one unit. And microfridge rentals are also, if ordered on time, in the room waiting for the student when they arrive. And then lastly, we hold a giant tag sale on Labor Day weekend Saturday. And that tag sale is a bunch of stuff that students donated at the end of the last academic year that we cleaned up and tagged and are ready to sell back to students that might have needs. So new to you tag sale. Let's skip forward to, let me not forget about fans. It's actually finally cooled off here in the Northeast. We were under what was called a heat dome last week, and I wouldn't say that we are very cool in September. So your student is going to need a fan or 2. The only 2 places where there are air conditioning are North Apartments and Commonwealth Honors College. And so a fan or 2 should be considered for your packing. If your student takes important medications, also make sure they come with a 30-day supply. The package load at the beginning of the semester is always very heavy, and I wouldn't want something important like a medication to be caught up in that package queue. Let's talk about the 1 car rule. During move-in, centralized move-in, day 1, day 2, day 3, we unload 1 car. And 1 car only. There are plenty of reasons to bring a second car, and you are welcome to bring a second car, but we will only allow 1 car with belongings in it and the student that's moving in that same car to be unloaded at the unload zone. So if there are 2 cars coming, try not to be this family. They put stuff in both cars, as you can tell. No one told Dad. See how His body posture is like, what am I going to do here? And so there are places on both sides of campus to pull over and reload the cars. We would prefer if you did that at home. You can put as many people and light things into the second car, but again, we will only unload one car. If you are bringing a second car, have that second car follow the primary car through the check-in queue. I'm going to talk about both east and west check-in in just a moment. And we will also placard the second car. The second car will go to the designated parking area for your student's residence hall. Here's a picture of a family that did bring a second car and they put all the light stuff. So they are happy they did so. Let's talk a little bit about elevators before I get off of this page. So there are plenty of residence halls at UMass that don't have elevators. Those buildings are all walk and carry upstairs. Obviously, there's not an elevator. In buildings, even where there is an elevator, in order to move that building in one day, there are going to be some floors, the higher floors on in that building that will move in using the elevator, and then there are push patterns and stairs that will be used for lower floors. So it's important to note that even if there's an elevator in your student's building, you may not be using it to move in, and either the professional moving company is using that elevator to move students in, or the minute movers are using it for the higher floors. So please take that into consideration. Of course, if there's a medical reason for you to use the elevator to get to your student's floor, we will of course give you a ride in the elevator. But we have push patterns for every room on campus and how they get unloaded and how the belongings get into the building. On all 3 days, we operate a check-in shuttle that launches from the Brommery Center for the Arts. And so if your student is coming by bus or Uber or Lyft or any type of transportation like that, let us take them the last mile. Have your student go to the Brommery Center for the Arts and we will pick them up with their luggage and take them through the queue. Now let's talk a little bit about East and West check-in. If you have questions about early arrivals, the pages I just scrolled over, we certainly can take those. So I am going to show you now a map of East check-in. East check-in happens in a very large parking lot behind North Apartments and Sylvan Residential Area. This is lot 44. East check-in comes in from the north end of campus, North Amherst, and enters onto North Residential Drive. Cars will then come into the queue on the east side of campus. The first thing that you interact with is our fantastic check-in team. This is where your student will receive their key and get checked into their assignment, and we will placard the cars so that it's clear to our partners out in the unload zones and managing traffic, whether you're allowed or not allowed into the unload zone. So that's step one on the east side. Step two is that our amazing dining partners are out there with us all 3 days, handing out snack bags with waters and refreshments. And then lastly, on the east side, we have what is called the car call up. That is where we hold cars that there is not a spot for them to unload yet. And so instead of pushing those cars into the unload zone where there is nowhere for them to be unloaded, we hold them out in the parking lot until by radio contact, the folks in the vests call each other and say, send one car, send 2 cars. So there might be a tiny bit of waiting in car call up, but over the years, we've refined this to a point where there's very little waiting at really any of these steps. On the east side of campus, for students that are living in Sylvan, North, or Northeast residential area, we operate a shuttle because the designated parking lots for cars that have been unloaded or for second cars that have come to campus is a little bit further away down Governor's Drive than we would like people to have to walk. It's certainly walkable, but we operate this shuttle up and down Eastman Lane and Governor's Drive all 3 days. So if you are the person parking the car, or if you're trying to get back to your car after you've helped your student unload, you can hop on the east side check-in parking shuttle. For Orchard Hill and Central, that is not necessary. The buildings are close enough to the parking lots that we've designated that we don't need to operate a shuttle for Orchard Hill or Central. On the east side of campus, the residence halls in North, Northeast, Sylvan, Central, and Orchard Hill all check in on the east side. Here's a picture of our shuttle. I think it's going to look a little bit different this year. So we've got some new vehicles and they're pretty snazzy. So we'll be using one of those for our parking shuttle. On the west side of campus, it's a little bit more intuitive because I think most people do know where our football stadium is. It's on the west side of campus. Students that live in Southwest and Honors College residential areas check in on the west side of campus. You will come off of Route 116 onto Mass Ave and enter Stadium Drive. Stadium Drive is a big dirt road that goes around the stadium proper. And on the west side, you interact with our dining partners first, because that's a better place to put them. You'll traverse around and onto the back side of the football stadium, and that's where your student will get checked in. Scroll that down a little. That's where your student will receive their key and be checked in, and we will placard the car or cars, depending on whether there's one or two. Second cars are parked and not unloaded at the unload zone. And then lastly, just like on the east side, the final stage is to hold cars and our car call up, and that is happens until we radio that we can take more cars to unload at that particular residence hall. Everybody on the west side leaves out of the football stadium area by way of Dallas Mall onto University Drive. This is a great little movie video to see how East move-in check-in happens. You can watch that if you'd like on your own. After you arrive, students will complete what is called a room condition form in the housing portal. If there's anything wrong with the room, which we don't think will be the case, but if there is, please submit a maintenance service request. That is online for students. If your student has talked with their roommate and they're planning to rearrange the furniture in their room, which is certainly allowable, you can either loft or bunk beds. In this case, this family is in a room with a bunked bed. And I would like to point out that every room in every residence hall has a sprinkler head in it, and it is important to be aware of those sprinkler heads, especially if you're moving furniture close to the ceiling and bunking a bed or lofting a bed, because we would not want to put that sprinkler head into activation. Thousands of gallons of water will pour into the room, and it will not be a wonderful day. We encourage your student and you to explore their new home. There are hydration stations in every residence hall. There are laundry rooms, kitchens, rec spaces. We do still deliver letter mail to mailboxes. There are several different kinds of mailbox combinations to open that little mailbox. Most mailboxes are in the first floor or lobby of the building, with the exception of Honors College. Honors College's mailboxes are in the administration building where Roots Cafe is. I want to point out an important phone number, 413-545-6401. That is our emergency 24/7, 365-day a year call number for emergency maintenance assistance. And what we consider emergency maintenance includes running water, a loss of electricity, a loss of heat, too cold, too hot, a lock not working, card access reader not working, broken glass, anything related to the fire alarm system that seems to not be working, a chirping smoke detector, anything like that. Please have your student, encourage your student to call that in, and we will dispatch staff immediately. We are covered both at the call center and dispatchable staff 24/7, 365 days a year. There are 8 residential service desks on campus. The service desks serve your student in the following capacities. They can help your student figure out that mailbox combination. This is also the place that your student will go to if they need a backup key because they have misplaced or lost their key, or if they need a temp card. Their U card is what is utilized to open the main door of the residence hall, and only the main door of the residence hall. And so if they do misplace their U card, they will need a temp card to get in and out of their residence hall. All residence halls are locked 24/7. And most importantly, students will go here to pick up packages. We processed over 300,000 packages last year, and we know that packages are important to our students. This year, we have package lockers in each of the residential areas. So that will be a new option for students who are ordering from Amazon. We do see a pretty heavy package load the first couple of weeks of the semester. This is a true actual picture of a mail room, and this is all the mail that came in on one day. And so if there's a chance you can hold off on sending something the first week or so, please do so. And I already talked a little bit about the medications. We would hate for a medication to get caught up in this queue. There are some restrictions and parameters for the types of packages that we receive, so please check that out on our website. And lastly, this is our contact information, our email, our phone number. We're open 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we would love to answer your questions outside of this webinar at any point that you have them this summer. And so I'm going to pause there and see if there's any themes or questions that participants or the team that's answering questions behind the scenes have.
Don, we currently have just one outstanding question at the moment, and their student is a bio student. And so they're wondering what their move-in is going to look like.
Okay, great. Sorry for everybody else. I'm going to scroll up pretty quick, so just maybe don't get nauseous. Here we go. Oh, I missed it. I went past it. So BIOS is going to move in what is called a summer conference group. And so your student is going to move in a little bit earlier than everybody else. And they're going to move in to the point where we're not even checking them into their fall assignment yet. And so bio students will check into Crampton Hall, and they will participate in their program on campus. And then on August 31st, your student will move out of their Crampton room, go downstairs to the check-in location in the ground floor of the building, and they will get their key for their fall room assignment, and then they will move into their fall room. So they will really be living in two different rooms, the one for a very short period of time to participate in the BIOS program, and then on Monday, August 31st, very early in the morning, between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., your student will check out of Crampton, turn in the key to conference services staff in the lobby of the building, and then they will come downstairs and they will receive their key to their fall assignment. My understanding is that the staff in the BIOS program will help your student move about the campus with what they brought to have for a few days, and then you are invited to campus with the remainder of the belongings at some point later that day. Other questions? I think our Army ROTC is the same. I see that question in the chat. And so if your student's coming back early before August 31st, it means that they are part of a conference group, and they will also transition that Monday morning. Have your student, though, reach out to their coordinator to make sure that that's true. I don't know if they're just a true early arrival who's moving in on August 31st, or if they're here prior to August 31st, so that have them check with their group leader on that. So someone's asking about everything that's included in the room. That is on our website. I'm going to show you a picture of a room, so it'll give you a little bit of a visual. There we go. Every room comes with a bed, and it's at captain's height. So it's that's the highest status that it can be in. There's a mattress on every bed, of course, with a bed frame and two bed ends. The captain's height allows for you to put lots of things for storage underneath. This can be lowered down if you desire. If you would like to change the bed height, please bring a rubber mallet with you. We do have some on campus, but I wouldn't want you to wait in line for something like that and have it delay you setting up your student's room. There is also a desk and bookcase in every room with a chair on wheels. There's a 3-drawer dresser. The 3-drawer dresser can fit under the bed at captain's height. And then it varies from room to room, but there's also a place for students to hang clothing. So that might be a real closet. It might be a wardrobe. It might be a bar within a closet area that's more open, like in our Southwest residential rooms. But there is a place for your student to also hang clothing. And that's the standard set.
Don, can you talk about micro fridge and what if you both order? What if you find out your roommate ordered a micro fridge too?
Great question. So Microfridge will cancel one of those units on one of their behalfs, and then the two roommates can agree to split the cost of that rental unit together. You certainly don't need two micro fridge units in the room. That'll take up a lot of space. That micro fridge unit comes with a microwave, freezer, and refrigerator. And they will be in the room waiting for your student upon arrival if that order is placed on time. We work with the microfridge group to put those in the rooms towards the end of August. Nice thing about the microfridge rental unit too is that you don't have to lift and carry it up and downstairs, in or out. At the end of the year, your student will unload it, unplug it, wipe it down, and they will come get it after students move out.
Someone is asking about the if we could talk about the cleaning process between students.
Right. So right now we are doing that. We are turning over every single residence hall room. Some of those rooms are being used by our conference services group, and so they'll get turned over much later in the semester. We do a final walkthrough of every single room to make sure it's perfect, in my opinion, and ready for your student. I've seen feedback about the cleanliness of our rooms summer after summer, and I think you'll be impressed with how the room looks when you move in. And if for any reason there's a problem with the room upon your arrival, we want to know about it. We want you to call it in if it's of an urgent or emergency nature, or submit a service request, and we will address that immediately. So I answered that question for summer turnover. There are situations where students move during the semester and then move into a different room, and custodial will go in and clean that half of a room and prepare it for a new resident. That's a little more challenging because now we're working around somebody who's already there, but we do clean rooms in between occupancies as well if there are mid-semester room changes. Someone's asking about the tools they should bring for lofting or bunking beds. The rubber mallet is the tool that you need to bring. The other materials that you would need to loft or bunk a bed are in the residence halls. They are in designated locations by hall. That list is on our website. And so once your student knows where they'll be living and they've talked with their roommate about how they're going to set up the room together, then you are able to get the extra bed ends and the pins for doing so in the residence halls. We also have bed rails that do not automatically get placed into rooms, but if two students decide to bunk a bed and the student that's on the top bunk would like to have a bed rail, they can submit a service request for that and we'll deliver it to the room. Other questions?
Yeah, we just got one in that's any tips or tricks for moving in two students who are in different Southwest dorms?
All right, I love that question. This happens every single year. I'm glad whoever asked it, so then everyone will know. We want to help you coordinate that move in so that you only have to come to campus once, unless of course you want to come twice, we'll let you do that too. But please use the email. I'll go to the last page with our email address on it in just a moment, but please email residential services and we will coordinate that move so that the two keys are to, if it's on either side of campus, they'll both be on one side of the campus, but Sarah just said they're both in Southwest. So we'll make sure that the keys for both students are available. Each student is allowed one car. So you do not have to worry about trying to get two students' belongings into one car. One car rule applies per student, and we will help you move your two students in on the same day.
A request asking for more details about the luggage program. Is there a limit? Is it just luggage? Can it just be those blue bags that you can buy? Can you talk a
Yeah,
little more about that?
I can. And we will there's a PDF that is on our website that lists all the instructions for the, going in the wrong direction, aren't I? Yes, I am. Here it is. There's a, oh, maybe it takes me there. Yeah, look at that. So this is our luggage program information right on our website. This file has all of the instructions around what you can and cannot ship. Maybe I'll be lucky enough that it'll open. Sarah, are you seeing it open?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. So this is how you'll address the package that's coming in. It's actually boxes. It's not luggage, like suitcase luggage. I wouldn't send one of those blue bags through the International Postal or USPS. And so boxes are best. And there are some limitations. So all of that, all of those restrictions and instructions are listed here on our website. And so if this is something that you are thinking about taking advantage of, we will hold these in our distribution center until our staff are able to put them into the room. And hopefully, if we're doing it as well as we have done it for the last handful of years, those items will be in your student room waiting for them. And now my problem is going to be getting back to where I want to be. Ha, look at that. Okay. And so that's the luggage program. Pat Quinn.
Don, there's a couple of questions in the chat about the new to you tag sale. Specifically, when is it and where would that take place?
Great questions. So our new to you tag sale will take place in Southwest Residential area at the Hampden Commons building. There will both be indoor and outdoor tag sale items. They'll set up a big tent. So that is in Southwest Residential area, Hampden. That is where their permanent location is for their thrift store. But it gets much bigger than just the thrift store footprint for all the items that we collected at May Move Out. And that tag sale will happen on Saturday, September 5th. And it starts pretty early in the morning. And I do know because I drive by it and have been driving by it for over a decade. People will line up early for that. And so if that's something you're interested in, they'll have tons of fans, they'll have fridges, futons, storage containers, stackable storage, things like that. It's a pretty cool effort that we started here a number of years ago. And if you're interested in picking up some really inexpensive items that are very useful, check out our new to you tag sale Saturday. I think 9 a.m. is when they open, but I know students start lining up before that. Other questions, Sarah?
Someone was asking specifically if there's like a weight restriction on the luggage program, and I am not sure of that answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So if it's not in the instructions, email our residential services and we'll determine that. I know they're usually pretty big boxes, but somebody human has to move it. So we don't want it to be too heavy. Other questions for this afternoon?
There are no other open questions at this time.
Does anybody want to raise their hand and ask a question? We certainly can do it that way too. Okay, let's see if I scrolled over anything too fast. Okay, we talked about the fans. The fans are not, there aren't going to be a lot of fans in the local area when you come in late August, early September. In fact, you're going to see mostly Halloween decorations in those locations. And so please, unless you're an international family, maybe you should put that in the box that you're shipping if you're going to use the luggage program. There aren't going to be a lot of fans available. And so please have your student bring those with them. I always say 2 fans, one for the window to bring cool air in at night, and one for the room that oscillates to keep moving air around. Another strategy for keeping the room cool, particularly during September and early October, is to make sure that your student knows to close their windows and pull their blinds or shades during the day so they can keep radiant heat out from the sun. Sarah, what do you have for us?
Yes, so as you have this picture up, there's a question asking if all the rooms come with a desk hutch or do you have to request one? And so I'm assuming that's that little, the part
Yeah,
above.
all the desks come with that.
And are there things that you've learned that people bring that they don't need, and do they need a lamp?
I would say yes to a lamp. There's definitely overhead lighting in the room, but if a student is studying at their desk and their roommate is sleeping or napping, then it would be better for them to have their own desk lamp. So I say absolutely yes to the desk lamp. Are there things that students bring that they don't use? I'm sure. I'm sure there is. There is good storage in the residence hall rooms between the closets, desks, dressers, the built-in units that are sort of cubbies. So I don't know that families need to bring tons and tons of extra storage type containers. But again, it depends on what your student's bringing. I would strongly encourage your students to bring a couple to several reusable water bottles so they can refill those and stay hydrated while they're here. There are hydration stations in every single residence hall, sometimes multiple ones. And then most buildings on campus also have refill bottle refillers, hydration stations. So let's work together to keep those single user water bottles out of the system.
Don, new question. If you apply to be an early arrival, when do you get notified?
Quinn.
You get notified within 24 to 48 hours of submitting an individual early arrival request form. If you're part of a group, you should check it, or if you think you're part of a group, you should check in with your group. So, for example, if you're in the marching band, you should check in with the marching band to confirm that you are on their list. Because we will then send notifications to folks ahead of move-in reservation about being an early arrival. And the individual early arrival request form is slated to go live in mid to late July. So in a couple weeks.
And that'll be on our website, right?
It will be on our website. You are correct.
Okay, great. And I believe Dining Commons will coordinate their meal plans and dining halls being open with starting with early arrival day.
Correct.
Great. What is the best way to affix posters to the walls?
So command strips work really well. There's also that putty that won't pull paint off that will also hold up lighter things. The double-sided mounting squares can sometimes pull paint off the walls, so I would avoid those. They're more sturdy, but they also, because they're more sturdy, can pull paint off, and we don't want that to happen.
Okay, well, we are once again at 0 questions.
Great. Well, with that said, I want to thank you all for coming this afternoon and attending our webinar. As you can tell from how quickly questions were answered in the chat and behind the scenes, I have an awesome team behind the scenes supporting our effort to get you as much information about the move-in process as possible. You may think of something as soon as we get off this webinar. Please email us. We would love to continue to answer your questions and help you make this as smooth as possible. If I were to highlight a couple of items from today's webinar, take the time to look at the Fall Move-In website. Everything that I've talked about today is on our website with more details. This presentation is on the website. The frequently asked questions about Fall Move-In are also there. And so I would encourage you to do a little bit of that research. And then I would say the last thing is have the drivers of each car know a little bit of the lay of the land. Each check-in location and how to get to each check-in location, each car should know that. The west check-in location, as I've indicated, is by the football stadium, so it's a little more intuitive to kind of know where you're going, and you come off of 116 for that. And so spend just a little bit of time looking at the maps and the designated parking lots for each of the residence halls so that you have a little bit of sense of what's going to happen on your arrival day. And we so very much look forward to seeing you at the beginning of September and hope you have a great day. Thank you.